remember the cerebellum on the sheep doesn't have a division, a fissure, like the human cerebellum does. See, right here. So we aren't going to have a falx cerebelli on our sheep.
Being at a swimming pool smells worse.
What?
Oh, just the strong chlorine smell, yeah. I could probably sniff that brain up close and be fine. Not that I'm going to.
I don't advise it.
Ooh, formalin. You smell so good.
Are you doing video?
Yeah, I am. You can't see anything you watch my video.
Oh, wow.
Does that kill brain cells, ironically, if you smell formalin up close?
I don't know.
Probably. Look at all our scientists.
I think you're missing
There goes my grade.
I'll take his
Dr. P
points.
is a scientist.
That was why it was fun.
I've actually done research. Anyway, no, my problems are age-related. But anyway, so before you just rip the dura off the ventral surface, let's look at some things that would lead with the dura.
Sorry.
So right here, projecting off the bottom of the brain, we have the pituitary gland. Okay, so it's right here. The pituitary gland hangs off the floor, the bottom of the brain, by a stalk. The stalk is called the infundibulum, and generally when you remove the dura, it pulls the pituitary off. I don't think we've got it on this guy anymore. No, it would have been right there.
That's why you need the one. Next time there's a car accident, I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
It's going to be fun. She can.
All right. Also, can you see here this large white structure, okay, leading toward the brain? Okay, that is the optic nerve. I just broke it on that
I
side.
can't see no more.
Okay, and the optic nerve, and you see that it's coming from. See, here's the optic nerve on the other side.
Okay.
Okay, it's coming from this mass of fat and muscle that was actually surrounding the eye. The eyeball was in front of this. Okay. So you've got some of the extraocular muscles in here that were attached to the eye, as well as fat. So when you study the eyeball soon this quarter, you'll,
Are we dissecting an eyeball?
yeah,
This quarter?
yes, you'll be able to find this optic nerve coming off the back of the eye. We can dissect this material off, and it leads to the brain. Okay, maybe I can get all this junk off.
Pretty big.
Okay,
Yeah, it is.
this optic nerve will be divided for 2 eyes later.
Well,
Yeah?
Or is there
here we
one on each
have,
There's
side?
one on each side.
There's one on each side.
can you see the one coming from the other
Oh, yes.
eyeball right there? Okay.
It's a good question, though.
The cool thing about the brain is everything's symmetrical.
Okay. Now, as these optic nerves reach the brain, and they reach a structure called the chiasm, which means a cross. And in that cross, some fibers from coming from both eyes will cross to the other side. Now, let me see if I can remove all this. Okay, so I'm taking the optic nerve on one side with the dura, and it looks like our pituitary
Looks like a grapefruit.
is going to
pulp
come.
shell.
I just cut the infundibulum that led to the pituitary. Now I'll cut. Oh, I don't want to take the optic chiasm with me.
So you don't have to be as gentle, do you?
What?
I mean, it's
It's not delicate.
Well,
Yeah, it's not delicate at all.
the
Dura.
preservative has made it firmer than it actually is. It's more like a jelly-like consistency. Let's compare. Here on our human brain, you can see these are both, you know, the stubs of the optic nerves. The eyes were up here. And this is the chiasm where they're going to cross, okay? And the pituitary would be hanging right behind that. And that's where we have it on the sheep. Okay. Now, this is a bit macerated, but these two structures are real things, these white things you see here, and those are called the olfactory bulbs.
Yeah.
All right? And so if we set this upright, they are sitting right above the nasal cavity, okay? And fibers from olfactory receptors in the nose would pass through the cribriform plate
Of ethmoid.
and synapse in these olfactory bulbs on interneurons, and then impulses would travel into the brain. Okay. Note it, well, unfortunately, we've lost our olfactory bulbs on our human brain, but they were quite small compared to these. Both the bulbs and what passes caudally or posteriorly then is called the olfactory tract. Both the bulbs and the tract are much larger in the sheep than in the human. Why do you think that is?
Maybe on dogs bigger than this one.
It could be, yeah. So I'm just breaking arachnoid there because I wanted you to see these large tracts coming back off the bulbs. Because, right, smell is critical to their survival. You know, they smell the enemy, they smell food.
Smell fear. I'm just kidding. That's us.
I don't know if sheep or these do, but some animals can.
In the cartoons with the wolf.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so
See, it's been serious.
now, let's compare. See the size of it, the cerebellum. The cerebellum is important for coordination and balance. So look at relative size of cerebellum in the sheep to cerebrum
The little brain.
compared to, look at the human, size of cerebellum compared to cerebrum. What would you say?
Bigger in human.
We're more coordinated.
We want them to
Have relative size
They're pretty close.
We're not.
of cerebellum to cerebrum.
They're closer in the sheep than they are in the human. There's quite a bit of a difference in size in the human.
Right. Cerebrum compared to cerebellum is much larger in the human than the sheep, for obvious reasons. You know?